the thing about Paul is he's got a very communicative, you know, way of doing things that people might think, why is he doing that? But he manages to get it across. You know, it's the simplicity of being able to say something simple and do it well. In other words, you know, it's like painting a picture. It can be a couple of lines, but you know, it's done with a technique. You know, it makes. Start again, yeah.
Sorry about that.
I think the Silly Love Songs was a very, you know, it was a tongue-in-cheek version of people trying to be too complicated, you know. And everybody does like silly love songs. They do. I mean, it's a good line as far as, you know, silly little songs that everybody sings, you know. Like when I was a kid, we always used to sing like, you know, I don't know, there'll be bluebirds over white cliffs, you know, sing-along songs. So, I mean, that was his idea behind that, I would think. Not that I ever asked him, but just say it. So you go with it. But what happened with that is it turned into an arrangement of harmonies. Not just a song, but different, you know, okay, we'll bring the harmony in there, we'll change that bit there. And it was more of a kind of a jam on one little section, you know, like an orchestra does. You do that, then you repeat that, then you add more, then it goes back to it. So it was kind of different harmonies coming in, different textures of harmonies, and a very simple song. So it's a whole nother sound, you know, that you haven't tried before. And I think that song has that element of that. But, you know, the lyric's not a lyric I would write, but it just happens to be that he can write that and get away with it, is what I'm saying, because of his personality, you know. Well, you know, this is a bone of contention because, you know, I come from a different background to that, where I'm more sort of R&B blues based. Me, you know, the Moody Blues were about a blues band when I started. I wouldn't have joined them. I wanted it to be that way, but you know, going off into the sort of the love song bit, I write love songs myself. I don't write them in the same way that Paul does, but they still have that element of, you know, boy meets girl, you know, breaking up, missing people, the whole thing, you know, romanticism, the general thing is of a love song. So that's his version of the love songs, and they work, you know, at the end of the day. And, you know, I mean, for example, I'll tell you a little story about My Love. It was never meant to be a single, and it was only Pete Bennett, who was the PR man at the time, started out with Elvis actually, went through the Alan Klein camp and that whole thing with the Stones and the Beatles, and then Wings, who talked Paul into putting it out as a single, because he's an older guy and who thought, oh, that's a lovely song. It's like Frank Sinatra just covering Yesterday. Oh, what a great song, we'll do it, you know. I mean, there are people who thought the Beatles were long hairs, you know. I remember a story about some old guy saying, they're no good, they got long hair, there's all that, all this stuff, well, who cares about that? And then the kid plays him Yesterday, and he goes, no, I like that, who's that? And she says, that's the Beatles. You go, oh, you know. So, I mean, it's that thing of, again, the variety, and you get to all different audiences. You know, not that difficult. So what happened with Pete Bennett was, he said, I think this is a great song, because he's an older guy, to have out as a single. Paul probably went. In actual fact, Pete Bennett told me this story. That's how I know it's true, because Paul didn't. Probably Paul went, well, I don't think so, you know. It's a bit slow. It's a love song. It's a bit twee, maybe, you know. And he wasn't trying to be a rocker, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, put it out, and it was huge. So then you get the feedback of, like, there are a lot of people out there that love this stuff, you know. But then that's Paul. He has that combination of being a rocker one minute, and, you know, sentimental or complicated sometimes as well in his arrangements or whatever. He has a lot of sides to him, which we all do. But you know, his love songs seem to be, you know, I mean, they're very philosophical too. You know, I mean, they're almost not love songs, some of them, because like Hey Jude is kind of has a sentimentality. Eleanor Rigby, you know, all that stuff. And what Long and Winding Road, you know, they're kind of love songs, but they're also, what's the word? You know, they have a deeper meaning than just about one person singing about another person. It's just about life, you know. It's just the way you accept it is that you accept it your own way. You know, everybody has a different take on what they're listening to. You know, they pick up on this, they pick up on that. And he has that knack of doing a song that appeals to everyone. So that's it. It's all about communication, you know, and knowing life. I mean, you know, we all come from like working class backgrounds in the sense that and families and, you know, struggle and factories and stuff. So we know about what ordinary people on the street are all about. And then we basically, we write to them, or we make things for them, you know. And then because then it kind of becomes their music, and it spreads, you know, to others. It's music of the people. Like Dylan was the music of the people person in America. The Beatles were in England, you know, and then other bands in England became like under the wake of the Beatles. They became like another voice, but they're still singing songs about what they grew up doing, you know. You know what I mean? It's it's folk music basically.